Do you ever look at your favorite Tour Pro swing and wonder, how are they so consistent? Well, it's because their swings don't rely on timing. Now, unfortunately, most amateur golfers, their swings do rely on timing. It's because they have to make a lot of compensations in their golf swing. So today I'm going to show you 3 ways that you can improve your consistency in your swing and reduce the amount of timing that you rely on. So to kick this video off, I want to set a ground rule. The more your swing relies on compensations in order to hit the golf ball, the more you're going to rely on timing to hit a shot and the less consistent you're going to be. So if we want to improve your consistency, the repeatability of your swing, and also reduce the amount you have to rely on timing, we have to reduce the amount of compensations in your swing. So without further ado, let's jump into the 3 biggest reasons why people have to make compensations and how you can fix them. So the first thing that we need to improve and make sure it's in a good spot is your setup. I see so many people set up in a poor position. It creates so many compensations in their golf swing and ultimately sets off massive negative chain reactions. Now, consistency stems from the address position, and frankly we have no excuse for not setting up in a perfect setup position. Why? Because it's a stationary position. Now, is that position going to look the same for everybody? No, it's going to be a little bit different depending on your size, stature, what you're trying to do with the ball, but ultimately you have no excuse for not setting up in a good setup position. Now, the 2 most common issues that I see is a poor ball position and poor posture. We're going to run through those today. So let's start with ball position. The first one that I see is, especially with irons, they get the ball way too far back, and then with the driver they get it way too far forwards. Now that's because they're trying to take the concept of, we're trying to hit down with an iron and up with a driver. They take it to the extremes, they put it on steroids, and ultimately that causes bad chain reactions. When the ball gets too far back in the stance, they are trying to hit down it, and I get it, they're trying to compress it. However, what happens when they get the ball way too far back in their stance is, now as they make a swing, they'll do a good weight shift to their left side, but now their head is way past the golf ball. Now, we biomechanically know that the best players in the world have, with an iron, the ball off their left ear, underneath their left ear at impact. So suddenly now, if my head's all the way over here, now my arc is way too far forwards. The low point of my arc is going to be underneath my left armpit, so it's going to be way too far forwards. So at the point of contact, the club is going to be too high. I'll top it or thin it. So what does the body do? It throws the angles out. Well, there's your first chain reaction right there. That has created a casting motion. Casting motions are going to make timing extremely difficult. Where are we looking for the standard ball position to be? Use the upper body firstly at address. For a wedge, we want the ball to be positioned underneath the left eye in that position. Again, for a standard. For a 9-iron all the way up to a 3-wood, it's underneath the left ear or just outside the left ear. And then for a driver, it's going to be underneath the left armpit. Again, these are all biomechanically proven as the correct ball positions. Use the upper body and it's going to make you far more consistent. Now let's talk about posture. And I see posture all the time get into bad positions. The first one that I see is that player that really likes to squat their legs. This gets their butt way too far behind them, and the chain reaction that this sets off is that they have to then early extend to get their hips back underneath them. The other one that I see is when the balance points of the armpits relative to the balls of the feet get out of position. They either get too far back, which sets off a chain reaction where you're going to fall forwards, or they get too far forwards, they get their back very straight, and ultimately from there they're going to early extend again. So all of these 3 poor setup positions are going to cause players to have to make compensations in their golf swing. And again, the more compensations we make, the harder it's going to be to time up your swing and the less consistent you're going to be. So how do we fix just all of these in one simple drill? Well, I've got you the drill right here. What I want you to do is stand shoulder width apart, or your normal width for whatever club you're using. I'm assuming you're using an 8-iron or a 7-iron, and get your feet in that nice spot. Then from there, stand nice and tall for me in this position, legs straight, hips level, arms up in front of you. Now from there, just lower your arms down till you feel that connection with the insides of your arms and your outer pec muscles right there. Keep the legs straight and the hips level. We're going to round forwards until the club touches the ground and just relax right there. Now from there, just soften and gently unlock your legs, just in that position. So what you can see here is I have a very neutral lower back. I have a soft amount of curve in my upper back. My arms are hanging naturally underneath me, and I have a soft amount of knee bend. The 2 checkpoints I want you to have is, number 1, your armpits, your knees, and the balls of the feet are roughly all in one straight line, and the back edge of your butt is about a golf ball to a golf ball and a half to 2 golf balls outside of your heel line. This has now put you in a great athletic position to where you can turn and turn and shift and do all of those great things whilst maintaining great balance. You're not going to have to make compensations, and ultimately your ball striking is going to drastically improve. So the second reason why you have to make a lot of compensations in your swing is because your rotation isn't good enough. You don't get enough shoulder turn and hip turn. Now, the issues that this stems from is, number one, I tend to see when players don't turn enough in the backswing that either the club will go very, very up, the arms will overfold, or the arms will suck back across their body in order to generate depth. Now, all three of those are going to cause a lot of poor chain reactions. So when the arms just go straight up, again, that's going to cause you to want to come over the top. When you suck your arms behind your body this way, again, you're going to have to make some sort of compensation to get the arms back to the ball. It's going to be very, very hard to time that up. And when you overfold the arms to complete your swing, you're going to have to throw everything out. So ultimately, that's a lot of over the top movements. That's a lot of throwing the angles out, a lot of secondary tilt, and potentially a lot of shanks as well. And we don't want that. We don't want to be hitting slices. We don't want to be hitting shanks. We want to be hitting it dead straight, or a lovely little draw, a lovely little fade, depending on your shot preference. So what are we trying to see in terms of rotation? And again, there's no hard and fast rules because everybody has different flexibilities. Everybody's a different body type. But what we want to be seeing is, from the address position, we obviously have a certain amount of knee flex. As we turn back, we want to be seeing that the knees are, number one, changing flex. So the lead knee is going to be gaining some flex as it rotates slightly inwards. The trail leg is going to be losing some flex. We want to see the trail hip turn nice and deep behind us. So it's going to be sort of working on an arc. So if I was to turn from the front on view, pop a line down the right hip, you would see that I would create about a golf ball worth of space between my right hip and that line at the top of the backswing. And like I said, that right butt cheek is going to be working back and behind me into a great position. So that's the knees, that's the lower body. Now what about the shoulders? Again, the shoulders are going to work on a really nice plane, so they're going to have some tilt to them, but again, I'm going to get into that nice. If you can get to 90 degrees and past, great. You're going to see a really nice full turn. And ultimately, you're going to see I've got a nice stretch across my body here. I'm in a position where I can generate a great arm structure, good width, good depth. And then from there, that's going to put me into a position to where I can shift my weight, shallow the club. I've got loads of space created right here to where the club can then shallow out and get into a beautiful position. So when it comes to improving your rotation, there is no better drill than the alignment stick drill. All you need is 2 alignment sticks or 1 alignment stick and a golf club. And here's how you set it up. You're going to put the first alignment stick through your belt loops like I've done here. You're going to grab the golf club or the second alignment stick and pop it at a 45-degree angle through your feet. Now the reason why this is such a good drill is because it gives you direct feedback. You can visually see if you are achieving the right position, and you can also hit shots whilst doing this. So set up to the golf ball, and again, have that club in between your feet. Now, if I make a swing and I don't turn my hips, I get very armsy, you are going to see that my alignment stick in my belt loops doesn't even get close to matching the one on the ground. So again, that's visual feedback straight away. So what I want you to do is just to start, grab your golf club that you're using, pull it on your shoulders, stand nice and tall, and just turn. See if you can match that alignment stick up to that 45-degree one. If you can do it standing up, then chances are you can do it when you're in your golf posture. Now, just as you're doing this, just pay attention to how that right hip is working. You can see it sort of working, like I was saying earlier, on that sort of arc shape. So once you've done that a couple of times, then get into your golf posture. Again, keep the club on your shoulders to start with, and you're trying to turn that right hip back and around as if it's going on an arc, and you're trying to match these 2 alignment sticks up. And you can see I've got that alignment stick past the one on the ground. Once you've done that a couple of times, now set up to the ball normally. Again, we're not going to hit a shot just yet. We're just going to make a swing. Do I get it into a good position? Yep, that's a good one. Let's try one more again. And again, really nice. So I can get into that good hip turn. Now, when you're ready to hit a golf shot, push it through so the majority is facing towards the target. But let me just show you here what it looks like, so you can see when you do achieve a full hip turn, you'll be able to see in the periphery of your left eye that you've gotten that alignment stick past the one on the ground. So as you can see right there, the alignment stick stayed in there. I got that alignment stick past the one on the ground. Good full hip turn, ultimately resulted in a very straight shot. This drill is guaranteed to help you with your rotation. So the third thing that is happening in your golf swing that is killing your timing and making you super inconsistent is you have a poor weight transfer. Now this is going to be a slightly different video. I'm not going to give you the perfect drills to help you with your amazing weight transfer. I'm actually going to tell you, when do we start to shift back towards a target? That's a question a lot of people don't know how to answer. So if I asked you, when do we start to shift from going away from the target to back to the target? Now, a lot of people would answer that with The top of the backswing. The top of the backswing to the start of the downswing is when we shift back towards the target. And a lot of people, they talk about setting up to the ball, shifting, loading into that right leg at the top of the backswing. Then from there, then they change direction as they swing down and they go back to the left. But we have measured this. And again, we can use biomechanics, we can use force plates, we can use whatever you like to show you that actually that's not the case. Weight transfer happens back towards the target halfway through the backswing. And we can relate this to any other sport or any other just athletic motion. If I was to grab a ball and I was to say, right, I'm going to throw this down the driving range, I'm to stand there, I'd shift to my right side. Now, as my arm goes back, my weight is now starting to shift back towards my left side and I'm swinging through. So you can see I'm already starting to shift towards the target as my arm is still going up. Well, this is exactly the same principle in the golf swing. And we actually find that most tour pros start to shift back towards the target somewhere between shaft parallel and left arm parallel to the ground in the backswing. And again, it's a bit of a range, but this is when they start to change direction. So this motion of sort of going from slightly away to then starting to what we call recenter back to the middle and then continue all the way through. So this recentering motion happens halfway during the backswing. So that is where we are changing direction and we are starting to shift back towards the target. So with that being said, that actually means tour pros don't have to do anywhere near as much work in the downswing as amateurs. If amateurs are trying to get, let's just say, fully posted up on their left side at impact, if they are at the top of their backswing loaded quite considerably into their right side, they now have to go from this loaded right side all the way to this good impact position. However, if at the same time at the top of the backswing, tour pros have already started to shift back towards the target and are actually 50-50, if not slightly more towards their left side at the top of the backswing, they've got a head start on you. So this is part of the reason, and maybe even the biggest reason as to why tour pros are so much more consistent than the majority of amateurs out there. So now that we know that we are actually starting to recenter, we are starting to shift back towards the left before we finish our backswing, we need a drill that's going to help you, and I have the perfect drill to help you. That drill is called the step drill. Now, it's a little bit tricky to learn to start with, so whenever we do this drill, always tee it up just to start with. Again, we're not too worried about the contact as we're learning this motion. It's just trying to get it into our brains, trying to learn the feelings that it is for us when we are shifting at the correct point. So the way we perform this drill is set up to the golf ball normally, and I'm just going to do this just inside the ball to start with. So set up nice and normally in your normal setup position. Then from there, bring your lead foot in so it's level with the ball. So again, that's probably no more than 2 golf balls width. You're bringing it in. Now, from this position, as you start to swing back, and as soon as your hands go past sort of your hip height, past your right leg, you are going to step and just replant it. So you can see it's a very small step. It's not like I'm taking a massive step. It's just a very small step back to the left. So that is our recentering motion, and then you can continue to swing all the way through. So this little purposeful step is great because firstly, we are physically moving to do it, and it's going to really enhance this feeling of recentering and shifting early back towards your left side. So let me give it a go for you with the ball now. So I'm going to set up normally. Again, I'm bringing my foot to my lead foot level with the golf ball. Then from there, as I swing back, I'm going to have that little step to the left, and that's going to teach me this weight transfer. So let me do it for you right here. If you can nail your setup, you can get a full backswing turn and you can understand the correct concepts when it comes to weight transfer, your golf swing is going to become far more consistent, far more repeatable, and ultimately from there, you're going to rely less on timing. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, please give it a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you back here soon.